I had to do a current events project in grade school. We had to pick things out of a box, and it was the Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding saga. I mean, I knew about skating, but I didn't know much about it at all. And then when I watched it, that's when I fell in love with it and begged to go skating. Mom finally took me, and been skating ever since. Never stopped. I'm originally from New York. I grew up in Westchester, Bronx, Pelham Bay area, and then when I was about 9 or 10, I moved down to Florida, and then I lived there till my early 20s. I turned professional when I was 18, and I performed in Florida for about 3.5 years. When I left for tour, I was 22. I toured mainly Europe for about 6 years. I did a little bit of South America, a little bit of the States with competing as well, and then Canada. Europe was great. I basically did every city in every country in a way. I just enjoyed it. I fell in love with it, fell in love with Europe. You know, you performed, you had galas, you had this, and you just enjoyed life over there. And it was Europe is completely different from the US. It was very much an experience. The training for touring, depending on what you did, you would have ice time for you to practice like your elements, your jumps and spins and stuff like that. And then if the numbers weren't up to par on that night or for a few occasions, there would be rehearsals after the show, and you'd stay there until it was fixed. I left tour, I had really no idea what I was doing. There weren't many shows that I wanted to do, so I knew I was gonna have at least a 6-month break for the next offer. So I came back and I stayed at my sister's place here in New York, and I sent out resumes for rinks to coach at just to get a job, just to do whatever, and I sent them out to all over. And then I got a hit at Chelsea Piers. I have a student, Tori, and I've been working with her for 1.5 to 2 years now. She knew how to skate before me, but it was very still basic beginner. And the 2 years that we've been together, she's improved steadily. In 1 year, she jumped like 4 levels, which is really good. And she got one of the bigger jumps when you're, basic level, an axel, which is kind of separates the babies from the girls. So she got that recently, and that was a huge, big day and a huge hurdle. When you're starting at the bottom and you're trying to get clientele, there's a lot of downtime. So I just kept thinking, like, I need to do something else. Like, I'm just wasting and I'm idling. And I knew I wanted to stay in New York. I knew I wanted to do something else that had nothing to do with skating at all. As you are in an entertainment world or a athletic world, your age becomes very significant, so you start to become older very quick. On tour, the injuries, I had a few, mostly my lower back and my hips. We would have a physio guy who would get treated between the shows. For the most of the time, you just skated through pain, a lot of Tiger Balm and a lot of stretching, and you'd go right back out there, because most of the time, if you didn't skate, you didn't get paid. You start to realize you're not going to be able to do this much longer, so there needs to be a backup. I realized that the coaches that are there were more than just skaters. A lot of them didn't do what I did, which was tour and do shows from the get-go. They went to college and all that stuff, which I didn't do. And when I had all the downtime, I'm like, I needed a career that was in a fashion, in something creative, something that's a hands-on. I didn't want a lot of schooling, because I knew I'd been working since forever, and traveling, and to be stuck in a classroom for another 10 years to get like some career job. Like, I could do it, but I think I would also kill myself at this age right now to go into a classroom with a bunch of kids. I can't sew. I can't, do, so I wasn't going to go into like clothing or something like that. And kind of always thought about cutting hair because I always changed my look, and I just thought that would be a cool way I could work in fashion. And then next thing I knew, I was signing a check for school, and that was it. I knew I wanted to cut, but you had to learn everything in the whole, because it's a cosmetology license, so you had to learn cutting, coloring, chemical services. I also needed to learn, I had to learn all about facials, manicures. I had to learn everything. We were a small group that were there, and most of us in the class had established careers, and this was like a second move for a lot of us. It was tough. We learned a lot. Cutting came a little bit easier to me. The coloring was not so much. I do remember, I think it was about 2 months into it. One day we got there and we just had our mannequins out with our heads and stuff, and she's like, okay, just play, just style. It was all about styling that day. And that's what I wanted to get into, but I stood at the mannequin for a good hour, and my mannequin looked exactly the same that I walked in the door. Didn't look any different. And I have 5 girls next to me that are all just whipping hair up and stuff. I never ever styled girls' hair. And that's where I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Being able to balance teaching and school full-time was tough. I would go to teach from 9 to 3 and then go straight to school, 5:30 to 9:30, Monday through Friday, and then teach on Saturdays as well. If the hair thing didn't follow through, I'd probably be very depressed. I don't know, I'd have to think, because it took a big chunk of my savings. Right now, I'm teaching, and that's my main income. And then I perform a little bit with a company that's in the city. And then I would like to start getting more into the hair world and having that become, more of my income. Like, I know I'm gonna have to pay my dues because I'm starting out something from the bottom again. So I'm okay with that, but eventually at one point I want to be like the go-to guy to style, do photo shoots, do hair, runway shows, stuff like that. And, possibly get into TV and movies as well. I want to just learn the craft. I want to learn the craft like I know skating. That would be the ultimate goal. Now that I don't tour as much, I appreciate when I skate more now. Having the feeling of spinning and jumping and stuff like that, it never gets old. When you do it right and you just feel it, you just feel awesome.